The necklace was the first thing Evelyn Carter noticed. Not the torn coat. Not the rainwater dripping from the homeless man's hair. Not even the way he sat beneath the awning of an abandoned bookstore, protecting a small cardboard box from the storm as if it contained something more valuable than his own life. It was the silver necklace around his neck. A tiny compass-shaped pendant rested against his worn black shirt. Evelyn stopped walking. For 12 years, she had searched for that necklace. For 12 years, she had believed it was buried with her son. Her breath caught in her throat as memories came crashing back. Daniel at 7 years old, running through their enormous garden with that necklace bouncing against his chest. Daniel laughing when she told him the little compass was meant to remind him that no matter how lost he ever felt, he would always have a way home. Daniel promising her he would never take it off. Then came the accident. The phone call. The hospital corridor. The white sheet. And the tiny wooden box the hospital gave her afterward, containing the few belongings recovered from the wreckage. The necklace had been listed among them. Evelyn had watched the funeral casket disappear beneath the earth, believing that the last physical piece of her son was gone with him. Yet now, standing beneath the cold rain outside her company's headquarters, she was staring at that same necklace around the neck of a homeless black man. If you believe kindness can change a life, that people deserve second chances, and that sometimes the smallest act of compassion can uncover the biggest truth, please like this story, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more heart-touching stories. Evelyn was one of the most powerful women in the city. At 48, she was the CEO of Carter Global, a technology empire valued at several $1 billion. Newspapers called her brilliant, ruthless, disciplined, and untouchable. But none of them knew about the photograph she kept inside her wallet. It was a picture of Daniel. He had been 17 when he died, old enough to have dreams but young enough to believe the world would give him time to achieve them. He wanted to become a teacher. He loved helping children who struggled in school, especially those who came from poor families. Evelyn had often teased him that he had inherited his father's soft heart instead of her ambition. The accident had happened on a winter evening while Daniel was returning from a volunteer program. A truck had lost control on an icy road. 3 cars were involved. Daniel's vehicle was crushed against a concrete barrier. The police report said he died instantly. Evelyn never fully recovered. She built taller walls around herself, worked longer hours, and gave away millions to charities she rarely visited. She told herself that money could accomplish what grief could not. Yet every birthday, every Christmas, every rainy evening brought the same unbearable silence. Now that silence had been broken. She stepped toward the man beneath the awning. His name was Marcus Reed. He was 39 years old, though the hardship on his face made him look older. His beard was uneven, his boots were cracked, and his hands were rough from years of outdoor labor. Beside him sat a battered backpack and a cardboard box containing a blanket, 2 books, and a photograph wrapped carefully in plastic. When Evelyn asked about the necklace, Marcus immediately reached for the pendant. He did not know why the wealthy woman was staring at him as if she had seen a ghost. He only knew that the necklace was important. Very important. Marcus had found it years earlier. At the time, he had been working construction in another state. One afternoon, while clearing debris from an old storage facility scheduled for demolition, he had discovered a rusted metal box hidden behind a collapsed wall. Inside was the silver compass necklace, a photograph of a teenage boy, and a folded piece of paper. The photograph had shown Daniel. The paper had contained only a few words: "If anything happens to me, please make sure this gets back to my mother. Her name is Evelyn Carter." Marcus had no idea who Evelyn Carter was. He had tried to find her. But life had other plans. Marcus had once been married with a daughter named Lily. He worked construction, drove trucks, and took every extra shift he could find. Then his wife became ill. Medical bills swallowed their savings. Marcus sold their home to keep her treatment going, but she died anyway. A year later, Lily developed an infection. Marcus did everything he could. He failed. After losing his wife and daughter within 3 years, Marcus stopped recognizing the man in the mirror. He drank for a while. Lost his job. Lost his apartment. Eventually, he began sleeping in shelters and under bridges. But he never sold the necklace. He never sold the photograph. And he never threw away the note. Because somewhere inside him, he believed that returning those things to their rightful owner was the last promise he could keep to someone he had never met. Evelyn listened as Marcus explained everything. Her world seemed to tilt. She asked to see the photograph. When Marcus pulled it from his backpack, Evelyn's knees nearly gave way. It was Daniel. But the photograph was not from the family albums. Daniel was standing beside a group of children, smiling while holding a cardboard box filled with school supplies. Evelyn stared at it through trembling eyes. She had never seen the picture before. Then Marcus handed her the folded paper. The handwriting was unmistakable. It belonged to Daniel. Evelyn pressed the note against her chest. Daniel had written it during the final weeks of his life. He had discovered that a construction company was illegally dumping toxic materials near a low-income neighborhood. He had been volunteering at a community center there and wanted to expose what was happening. He had gathered evidence and planned to give it to his mother because he believed Carter Global had unknowingly invested in one of the companies involved. But Daniel never got the chance. The necklace had not been recovered from his body. It had fallen into the wreckage and been carried away with construction debris after the accident. That explained how it eventually ended up in the storage facility where Marcus found it. But there was something else. Something far more shocking. Marcus opened the photograph he had kept hidden inside his bag. On the back was a handwritten message from Daniel. "Marcus, if you ever get this, thank you for helping us. You said everyone deserves a chance. Don't let the world make you forget that." Evelyn looked at Marcus. He looked equally confused. Then she realized the truth. Marcus had been one of the volunteers Daniel worked with at the community center. They had never met before the necklace was found, but Daniel had written his name because Marcus had helped the children during a difficult week when the center had nearly lost its funding. Daniel had admired him. He had trusted him. And somehow, years later, Marcus had unknowingly carried Daniel's final message back into Evelyn's life. But the biggest revelation came the following morning. Evelyn ordered her legal team to reopen the investigation into the toxic dumping allegations. They discovered that Daniel had been right. A former executive at Carter Global had hidden evidence of environmental violations connected to a subsidiary, hoping to protect the company's stock price. The executive had since retired wealthy. Evelyn was horrified. Her son had died trying to expose something her own company should have stopped. For the first time in 12 years, Evelyn understood that Daniel's death had not simply taken her son from her. It had also left her with a responsibility. She publicly admitted the company's failures. She launched a massive cleanup program for the affected neighborhoods, established scholarships in Daniel's name, and created a foundation dedicated to helping children from struggling families. But she did not stop there. She offered Marcus a job. Not charity. A real job. Marcus became a community outreach coordinator for the foundation. He helped design programs for homeless families, veterans, single parents, and children who had nowhere safe to go. At first, Marcus was terrified. He had forgotten how to wear a suit. He had forgotten how to sit in an office. He had forgotten what it felt like to believe tomorrow might be better than today. But Evelyn never treated him like a charity case. She treated him like the man Daniel had believed he was. Months passed. One evening, Evelyn visited the foundation without telling anyone. She found Marcus sitting in a classroom surrounded by children. One little boy was struggling to read. Marcus leaned beside him patiently, turning each page and encouraging him to try again. Evelyn stood in the doorway. For a moment, she saw Daniel. Not his face. His heart. The same kindness. The same patience. The same belief that nobody should be abandoned simply because life had been cruel to them. Marcus noticed her and smiled. He touched the compass necklace. Evelyn smiled back through tears. She no longer wanted the necklace for herself. She asked Marcus to keep it. Because Daniel's final journey had somehow brought it to the person who needed hope most, not Evelyn, but Marcus. Years later, the foundation became one of the largest private programs helping homeless families in the country. And Marcus became known for one sentence he repeated whenever someone asked why he dedicated his life to helping strangers. He would simply say that once, when he had nothing left, someone had trusted him with something precious. He had promised not to lose it. The necklace remained around his neck. The compass still pointed north. But to Evelyn, it pointed somewhere else. Home. Because sometimes grief does not disappear. Sometimes it changes shape. Sometimes the person we lose leaves behind a path we cannot see until years later. And sometimes an act of kindness survives poverty, tragedy, and time itself, traveling through the hands of strangers until it finally reaches the heart that needs it most. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these stories reach people who may need a reminder that kindness still exists in this world. And before you go, comment, kindness always finds its way home, if you believe that one good deed can change a life. Because Marcus lost almost everything. Evelyn lost the son she could never replace. But Daniel left them both a gift far greater than a necklace. He left them a reason to believe that even after the darkest night, love can still point the way home.